what's up? Today I will teach you making a classic soul lead sound which is used in lots of techno tracks, including the Chained to a Dead Camel made by Clouds. In this video we will use only the effects and synthesizers you can find in a stock Ableton Live software, because you don't always have to use the Massive or Serum synthesizer to create great sounds. This video will be a good introduction to the sound design basics, so if you are someone who wants to make more of his own stuff, consider watching this video. My name is Marcin, I put out sound design tutorials every second Sunday. I mainly recreate tracks made by established artists like Tim Tama or Klangkünstler. If you don't want to miss such videos, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to learn even more, ask me for a private music production lessons, which will speed up your learning curve dramatically. Are you ready? Let's start the work. We will start this tutorial by creating a new MIDI track, in which we will put the wavetable synthesizer. You can find it in the instruments section. The wavetable synthesizer, as the name suggests, is a wavetable synthesizer, which shares the similar principle as the Serum or Massive synthesizers. Here we have two different oscillators into which you load a wavetables. We can consider a wavetable a set of different waveforms which you cycle through by using the wavetable position fader. In the first oscillator, I will use the basic shapes wavetable, which comes with the most classic shapes: the square wave, the sine wave, the triangle wave, and the sawtooth wave. I will create now a melody, so I will switch to the live tab window, and here we create an empty MIDI clip and drag it towards the arrangement tab. I will use only two notes, the G#2 and G2. At first we will adjust the amplitude envelope, which tells the volume of the sound over time. At first I want to reduce the fade out. To do that, I'm going to decrease the release control. The volume of the synthesizer drops quickly once it starts to play. To fix this, I will increase the sustain control to 0 decibels. This will give us a flat volume over time. Now we have weird clicks in the sound. To get rid of them, we have to use the attack to create a short fade in, and you might want to adjust later the release control as well. Now let's go back to the oscillator. We will adjust the wavetable position slightly so we get a combination of a square and a sawtooth wave. The sound is a bit dry. We would also like to make it sound wider. I could use a reverb as the audio effect. But a much better thing would be to use an unison section to create more than a single sawtooth wave. Let's turn on the unison section, and I will adjust the voices control. Currently the voices are set to 6. It means that the single oscillator, instead of creating a single saw wave, It's going to create 6 of them, and each saw wave is going to have a slightly different pitch, which is going to cause a nice modulation. The difference of pitch is adjusted with the amount control. The more amount, the more modulation happens. Now I will adjust the unison section accordingly. Also, we will change the mode of the unison spread by using this list. This is going to change the way how each voice is pitched. We will pick the classic unison spread mode, set the 8 voices and the amount of around 60%. To fine-tune the oscillator, I will use the detune control to pitch it down slightly. We will pitch it down by 50 cents. Further, to control the sound of the wavetable, we can use the warping section, which is something you can find in the Serum synthesizer as well. We have a few different modes of warping. We will pick the frequency modulation, which comes with 2 controls. The tune, which influences the pitch of the oscillator. This control works in pair with the amount control, which dictates the amount of such modulation. The more amount you put in, the more aggressive the modulation is. We will use only a bit of such FM modulation, so I will set these controls slightly. Now it's time to use more modulations. At first we will use a low-pass filter modulation, which here is already activated. We will control the frequency parameter, which cuts higher frequencies. I will hit the right mouse button and click Show Automation, which is going to open the automation curve for this parameter. Let's increase the grid size, which is going to give us easier time showing the modulation. And now I will hit the B button, which is switching us to the drawing mode. And now I can throw an automation which controls the cutoff frequency control. If I click any point in the automation curve, I'm going to delete it. To create a new point, just double click the drawing window. After some while, I drew such a curve. Now to make this filter more aggressive, we can either make it more steeper, you can also use the resonance control, which creates a bump around the cutoff frequency, and this also causes a more aggressive behavior. Our second filter is going to be a notch filter, which will be static. It means that we are not going to automate it. I will use this filter to remove some of the mud in the sound, which usually sits around the frequency of 300 Hz. And another way to make these filters sound more aggressive is picking a different filter circuit. Besides the clean type of filter, we have a few different filters which come with the additional drive control. This control allows you to introduce some of the distortion at the stage of filtering. Now we will turn off the first oscillator temporarily and we will enable the second one. In this oscillator I want to find a sound which is noisy, and this layer of noise is going to complement our first oscillator, making the whole sound more full. Let's hit the noise section in the wavetable. I will choose the applause wavetable and let's adjust the wavetable position first. Now I will use the semi and detune control to pitch down this oscillator. We will add this oscillator to the first oscillator and we will reduce the volume of the noise a bit. Half of a decibel is enough. Now let's see how the synthesizer sounds like with and without the second oscillator. We will make this sound fatter. We will return to our melody and we are going to duplicate the notes and place them an octave below. This will give us more low end to the sound and this will make the synthesizer heavier. After fine-tuning the synthesizer parameters, we will end up with such a sound. Now a friendly reminder, if you like this video so far, please hit a thumbs up button. It simply helps the algorithm to bring this video to more people, which is also going to help me. We will process this synthesizer with an equalizer. We want to cut the low end from this sound and we will also boost some of the mid frequencies. I will pick the first filter and choose a high pass filter. Let's adjust the frequency control, which cuts out low frequencies. The second filter will be a bell filter, which I will use to boost some of the mid frequencies. Now we will create a second version of this synthesizer, which will be packed with low frequencies. And you may ask, why do we want to have such a layer if previously, a while ago, we have used a high-pass filter to filter out any low end? Sometimes to make your arrangement in a track sound more interesting, you might want to have two different versions of the same synthesizer, and that's what we are going to do. I will duplicate the first channel, and in the second channel we will adjust the synthesizer preset settings we have just made. At first we will remove the equalizer, which cuts the low end. The next thing we will do is we will turn off the unison section, because we don't want to have such a modulation happening in lower frequencies, because it sounds ugly and will give you problems later when mixing the track. The third thing is turning off the oscillator too, which gives us that noise layer. And the last thing, we will pitch down the first oscillator by 12 semitones. In the end, we will remove the frequency modulation from the first oscillator. Now we can select both channels and group them by hitting the Ctrl and G buttons. I will adjust the volume of the second layer of our sound, and this is our synthesizer made of 2 layers. And now it's time for the group processing, meaning we will throw the effects on both channels by using the group we have just created. The first effect is going to be the utility. If you use lots of unison voices which are detuned, sometimes the synthesizer gets too wide, and we can control the stereo wideness of such sound by the width control in the utility section. I will adjust now this control, and especially if you listen through headphones to this video, you will notice a difference. And now we will use some spatial effect. This will be the simplest delay device. Which we have to adjust. At first, I will turn down the dry-wet control, which blends the delay signal with the unprocessed signal. This simply makes the delay quieter. To adjust the time of the delay, you can use the synchronized, let's say, controls, which are already matched to the BPM of the project. And if you would like to get, for example, triplet or dot delay times, the best thing would be to switch to the time adjustments and then use some kind of website in which you put the BPM of the project and it gives you a delay times. I have used such a website to get my own delay times, which I will put right now. It's time to adjust the feedback control, which tells the amount of repetitions in the delay. The more feedback, the longer the delay is. The middle section is the filter section, where we can cut some low and high frequencies from the delay itself. It will leave the dry signal intact. And here I have the delay device with all the parameters adjusted. As you see, I used that filter section to roll off slightly the highest frequencies from the delay itself. This delay is quite short and quiet, but it's enough to create a right rhythm. And this would be everything regarding today's tutorial. Again, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing my channel to get more of such tutorials. The next videos are going to be about Klangkünstler, hard techno production. We will recreate the Weltschmerz track, so I think this is going to be something very interesting. In the end, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.